was raised in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and my husband was raised in Grants Pass, Oregon. And I had childhood memories of an old country store. And when my parents would go to town once a week or once every 2 weeks, because they were farmers, but they'd have to go and get certain things, there would be this old general store, and it had old wooden floors, and the floors would squeak and creak when we walked on them. And the proprietor of the store had this real long pinch rod, and he'd reach up and get canned goods and everything. And my brother and I was always with my mom and dad, and when we behaved ourselves, the proprietor would go over, and they had big bins, big square bins, and we would get a cookie. That's a childhood memory that I just could never get rid of. And so when I met my husband, I said, you know, sometime in my life, I'd like to open up an old country store, my concept of an old country store. And sure enough, when we looked at the Citizens Furniture store, it had old wooden floors, and they creaked, and it said, buy me, buy me. And I said, this is it. This is what's going to enable me to recognize my childhood dream. And that's how we got started. And one thing of interest, when we moved to Southern California, they already had big Safeways and stuff, but St. Johnsbury, Vermont still had small individual stores. So I spent the next few years researching what country stores were really all about, what kind of merchandise they actually did carry. And I can remember my husband and I having a lot of conversations about, no, we're not going to carry a hula hoop. We're not going to carry a pet rock. These were all modern things, and we wanted this store to reflect only country store items that were useful in the past. And what we found out after we got involved is many items are still being manufactured, that just a lot of people aren't aware that they exist. And that's how that went about. You're probably wondering, why would we call that store Golden Gait Mercantile? We thought about it, and we thought about it, and we thought about it, and I loved rocking horses. I collected rocking horses, and we had to move away from the word Golden Gate, spelled G-A-T-E, because you have San Francisco, the Golden Gate. There were so many companies that made reference to Golden Gate. We said, this isn't going to work. So then we looked at the rocking horses, and we realized that most people that have horses or know a lot about horses recognize the fact that horses have a gait. When they gallop, it's spelled G-A-I-T. We also realized that we were in the business of selling antiques, and when older people walk with a slight limp or a cane, they make reference to that person has a gait. So I said to my husband, you know, we could call it Golden Gate. That would make a reference to Golden Gate of San Francisco, and the gate in reference to horses and older people. And that's how we came up with it.